Trekcast.
The galaxy's most unpredictable Star Trek podcast.
There we are.
Hey.
Lots dancing.
Hey.
Hey.
Whoa, who's that guy?
I know.
I still work here.
Hello, Daryl.
Yeah.
Daryl.
I don't know. Some
Yeah, Daryl popped in on the chat, so.
yeah.
Oh, I thought you were calling me Daryl.
No,
I'm
no,
on my
no.
phone today, not the iPad, so I can't
Yeah.
read.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Okay.
And read the messages.
How you been,
Oh,
Dan?
wow.
It's been a while.
How you been, Dan? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm good. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we're hearing you. You cut out there
Oh,
for a
all
second,
right.
but
Well,
we
you
hear
asked
you
me
now. Yeah.
how you been, and then I started answering, and then he said, "How you been?" So maybe-
Oh yeah, that
Anyway, all right.
yeah. That it's gonna be one of those shows. Okay, great.
Well, welcome to Trekcast, everybody. The
All
galaxy's
right, yes.
most
Welcome to
unpredictable Star Trek
Trekcast,
podcast.
where every day is.
I am. My name is Scott. With me today is Daniel, and is it Dan? Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh no, we're having problems with his audio.
Jasmine says
Yeah.
Dan only shows up for
Yeah.
the good movies.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
it's not a bad policy.
That-
So,
that-
how's everybody's week going? Everybody good?
Oh yeah. So far so good.
It snowed here yesterday.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it snowed here last week too.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I woke up and I was like, "What the hell is this?" But every time we get a late snowstorm like this, I don't feel bad about having not started the spring yard work yet. I'm like,
Oh,
oh
there
well,
you go.
doesn't matter. It snowed today, so
Yeah.
I feel the same way about waxing my motorcycle.
There you go.
okay.
So
Nice. Nice.
I walk out and I look at it and it looks back at me and it's like, what's up, Scott? And I'm like, I open the garage door. I'm like, look, it's snowing out, so we're good, right? Yeah.
Nice.
So Friday
Yeah.
I went to the Comic-Con.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
Yeah, Comic-Con's great as always. No Star Trek celebrities this year for the spring Comic-Con. So
Oh, that's no good.
yeah. So there were no panels. I didn't even go yesterday. I was busy yesterday. My son and I are going today. He's cosplaying as some anime person that I have never heard of.
I don't know anime
didn't
either.
recognize. So actually,
You know,
him and my wife went to the con yesterday, and people were like, "Oh, look, it's so and so. Yeah, it's so and so. Let me get a picture with so and so." I'm like, I don't know who you
Do you
are.
know the name?
I know. Father
Yeah.
of the Year.
I only asked because for Halloween, my son went as a character from an anime called Jujutsu Kaisen, and I had no idea what it was. But
Yeah.
same situation. We go to the event and everybody's like, "Hey, Jujutsu Kaisen." I
Yeah,
had no idea.
yeah. Well,
He
and
was
he- 'cause he's wearing a
He was
black
posting
wig.
pictures all day.
Yeah, so is my son. He's wearing this black wig. He's got a snake around his neck, and he's got a wavy flame sword. And
Okay.
here's what's funny about. I wanted to bring up something about security at Comic-Cons. Last year, I went to the same Comic-Con. It's at the Kalamazoo Expo Center, and I walk up, and when I go to places like that, I know the deal. So you leave certain things behind, and I walked up to the con, and they're like, I didn't have a bag or anything, and the guy looks at my belt and he goes, "What's that?" I got my Leatherman on my pouch.
Yeah.
It's just a little multi-tool, right? It's
Right.
it's pliers.
Yeah.
And he's like, does it have a knife? And I said, well, yeah, it's got this, this is literally a 2.5-inch dull knife. He goes, can't come into the con with that. And as he said that, a guy walked by with a 4-foot sharpened sword.
What?
And I'm like, he's like, part of cosplay. Can't do anything about it. I'm like, so you're worried about this, but you're not worried about the.
So you should have.
You should have said that's your cosplay outfit as a dad.
Yeah, there you go. This is my dad cosplay. Yeah, I was like, okay, so I didn't argue, make a scene, but okay, but he didn't check my pockets. That's the thing. If I had it in my, I would have been just fine. Now, I'm not saying whether or not I walked back towards my car, slipped my Leatherman back in my pocket, and then walked back to security. I'm not saying that's what happened. I mean, I won't say that out loud. But
Daryl says cosplay as blue collar worker.
yeah, right, exactly.
Here's the thing with that: there's security, and then there's the illusion of security.
Right.
And that there is the illusion of security. And
sad.
What's sad is 90% of security is the illusion of security. Going through TSA at the airport, that's the real deal. That's the real deal. Having been pat down going into like a stadium or something, that's nonsense. They touch the middle of your back. They touch your, this is where I keep my gun. Make sure you run your hand down outside of my arm.
I got my Derringer right there ready to go.
I don't understand it, and I've never understood. Like, I don't want to turn this into a.
Yeah.
I've never understood the no weapon signs. Like, okay. Guess who's the guy you don't have to worry about? This guy.
Yeah.
But anyways, I digress. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we get to the Star Trek news?
Sure. Yeah, I suppose.
Okay.
You have my permission.
Thank you.
I like Star Trek. We could do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's right. This is a Star Trek pod.
Star Trek news.
All right. So our first news story comes to us from Screen Rant. And, last week we talked about the new Strange New Worlds trailer that had come out, because we're waiting for season 3. But people have noticed that there's a character that is missing in the trailer.
Uh-oh.
That character, is Captain Marie Battelle, who is in the cliffhanger for that was at the end of the show. She was shown to be having a Gorn baby, I guess, inside of her. Like they're doing it like alien style now.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to rewatch season 2 of Strange New Worlds because I don't remember anything from the second half of that season.
And Nurse Chapel was trying to get it out, and that was a cliffhanger. Like, will they be able to save Captain Patel or not? And but she's nowhere else in the trailer. So people are like, "Oh no, does she die?"
So are they're going to recast Ripley?
I shoot the Magic 8-Ball, and it says the outlook for her is not good.
Yeah. Well, she's a side character, so yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, they could definitely redshirt her. So I don't know. What do you think, Scott? Dan thinks that it's no good, but
I thought her character was always unnecessary. I think they wanted to give Pike a backstory, and I think they just I like her as an actress. I think she's she's pretty. She's a good actress. She but I don't think that character brings a whole lot to Strange New Worlds.
Right.
I think they just brought an outside character to give him a backstory.
Yeah.
Plus, she's way too young for him, anyways.
There you go. Well, we'll see what happens. Then our next news story comes to us from Game Rant. Let me bring this up here. I don't know if you've seen this. He's been making the rounds, but Wil Wheaton has been out there, and he's been talking a little bit about a lesser-known Star Trek show, Prodigy. And he is trying to get the word out that Prodigy is not just for kids. He says Prodigy is for Star Trek fans, that it's a really well-done show. And one of the main reasons he says that is he feels that Star Trek Prodigy is the one of the shows that got Wesley Crusher right. So he wants
I don't
people
know
to
if
be
I
able
got
to see
that. I've only seen episode 1 of season 2.
We've seen a few episodes of season 2. We reviewed a little
Have
bit
I?
of it. Yeah.
Did I? Oh,
We got like through the first 6, I think. Something
okay.
like that. Yeah.
How did I like it?
You said it was fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
It left.
You didn't love
a
it, but you
lasting
didn't hate it.
impression on you, Scott.
Apparently,
You
I'm
should go
gonna have
back
to
and listen to
rewatch.
your old reviews.
I should.
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
I
you said
like
it
I
was
said.
fine.
I forgot that. You know, Captain what's her face, Captain Ripley was impregnated with a Gorn baby. So
That's right. That's right.
you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So yeah, apparently Wil Wheaton dropped this in a Reddit AMA where he talked about, that it's not just a kid show. It's a good show and people should give it a chance. And they also did my character right, so go enjoy it.
well, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that's on the to watch list, I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
I will finish it, just like I will finish the original series.
Right.
So I still
Right.
haven't made any progress in the original series. I still have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right on that.
And then our last news story comes to us from CBR, Comic Book Resources, and Star Trek Lower Decks is getting nominated for 2 prestigious sci-fi awards. They are up for a couple of, what is this award? The Hugo Awards. We have a couple of their episodes are being nominated. The Fisher Quest and the new Next Generation. So the last 2 episodes are both being nominated for Hugo Awards. The Hugo Awards are a pretty big sci-fi contest every year, so that's cool. They're being nominated. So I thought I'd bring that up. I did also see that the Lower Decks Steelbook is on sale on Amazon, brought down to like less than $20.
Really? So the whole series?
Yeah.
I might have to write that down on a personal note because
yeah.
I read somewhere yesterday that this might not have been in the U.S., it probably wasn't, but that they were having a hard time watching certain episodes of certain Star Trek series on Paramount Plus regular. They could only watch it if they had Paramount Plus Showtime.
Oh wow.
So yeah, Paramount Plus. So
yeah.
Digital media, man. I'm if I see something in a bin or at a garage sale, I'm gonna pick it up. Oh.
And then I don't know where this fits in our show, but I thought I'd bring this up just because I think this audience would love this. So, do you guys know who Dwayne McDuffie is?
No, but I do know who the other people on the screen are.
Okay, yeah, we got a visual aid for those of you listening. We got Dwayne McDuffie on the screen, Michael Dorn on the screen, and Halle Berry.
Comic book writer?
Yes, he created the Milestone universe, which has Icon and Static from Static Shock. He created a lot of African American superheroes and a whole comic book company for that. So yeah, he's best known as the creator of Static Shock. But surprisingly enough, a guy who writes comic books is a giant nerd, just like the rest of us. And way back when, he put this in his blog. Apparently, the blog has since been taken down. But I heard about this somewhere else, and I wanted to share this story. I went and looked. Apparently, the blog. I used the Wayback Machine, and it was on there. So Dwayne tells the story. He was at a one of the premieres for one of the Next Gen movies, and he had snuck himself in there. He wasn't supposed to be there. He was not invited, but he snuck himself in. And at the premiere, Halle Berry kept bumping into him and kept saying, "Michael, I love you. You're so great as Worf." She had confused him for Michael Dorn. And Dwayne did not want to let her down, but he also didn't want to get caught for being there because he wasn't supposed to be there. And he's like, "I'm not Michael Dorn. Leave me alone." and every time she'd be like, "No, I know it's you, Michael. Stop. Give me a hug. Hang out with me." Like, and then he had to
If Halle Berry confused me with Michael Dorn, I would have been like, "Yes,
Yeah.
I am Michael Dorn."
Yes.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, so poor Dwayne had to keep telling Halle Berry no the entire night. I'm not Michael Dorn. So
I mean, that is a funny story, though. That is a funny story.
Yeah.
I love the picture you had of Michael Dorn. He's like 26 years old. He's wearing the white shirt with a little bit of chest hair showing. He's giving me those "I want you" eyes.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to find an image
Very
that
sexy.
was. Yeah, I wanted to try to find images of both Dwayne McDuffie and Michael Dorn around that same age time, right?
Okay.
So you could kind of see, but the Dwayne photo I found is a little bit older. I mean,
well, I think this Michael Dorn photo you found was like when Worf was at the academy.
Right. Yeah.
They're all very good looking people.
Alike, they've got
they
like
do.
a similar like oval face shape, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I
mean, they're both black. They both maybe it's the
one
eyes.
has glasses, one doesn't.
Maybe it's. I think it might be the eyes.
Maybe.
Plot twist: Dwayne McDuffie was dressed as a Klingon at this party.
There you go.
Well, okay, then you can understand Halle Berry's confusion. I mean, I still don't think it's as bad as when Mariah Carey was told that the King of Jordan had died, and she immediately took to the microphones and said, "Basketball has lost a great legend today."
Oh God!
True story.
Well,
oh my goodness!
Yeah. Oh man.
Do we have any Paramount news?
We do not. I did not look. I'm.
So we can just assume it's just a giant cluster F, and
always is, baby.
Skydance
Always
may or may
is.
not be buying them.
Yeah.
Did we end up putting our bid in? Did we get some coffee account
Not yet.
money?
We're waiting for the lawsuit to clear through, and then
okay,
we'll swoop in last minute.
Clear. You guys can go to ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Trekcast. That's an actual thing, by the way, if you want to support the show. And if you want to help us buy Paramount, we can throw our 2 cents.
Then our current bid is $3, a Caesar salad, a bag of Twizzlers, and 2 bus passes.
Right.
I was gonna add in a ham sandwich too.
Okay.
Sweeten the deal. Yeah.
There you go.
One of those.
Hey, maybe Duval can put in a chopped cheese sandwich.
Ooh, that'd be good. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. All right. So should we get to our main topic?
Absolutely.
Fun will now commence.
All right. So we're making our way through the TOS films. And so we've arrived at the Wrath of Khan, the second one. That's why Dan's here. It's a good one. And yeah. What'd you guys think? You like it? Did you not?
I want to rename this movie. It
What do
should
you
be
wanna-
called Wrath of Khan. I want to rename it Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
There you go.
Because this is what Star Trek should have been.
This is what Star Trek: The Motion Picture should have been. Excuse me. There is actually a lot of similarities between this movie and Star Trek: The Motion Picture, except they just did it right this time. There's a bit of a time. There's a bit of a time jump in both movies. There is a catching up with the characters. Who's where, who's doing what. Not everybody is together. There's a change in uniforms from what we've seen in the original series.
Yes.
The Enterprise is under the command of someone else. Now Admiral Kirk spends a significant amount of screen time wishing he was still captain of the Enterprise. Pondering his getting older. And the crew of the Enterprise is not as experienced.
Yeah.
So there's all the similarities from the previous movie, except around all that, we have a better story. Not a perfect story, but we have a
Right.
better story.
Yeah.
So that's my quick take.
Yep.
On it.
Well, this is very well received on Rotten Tomatoes. It had an 86% from critics and a 90% from viewers. So
Well
people did
deserved all
like
the way
this one a
around.
lot. Yeah. So do you guys want to go into the story? Talk a little bit about what happens in this movie?
Yeah, let's do a synopsis. We can do let's do
Good.
You want to go through that? So what happens, Dan? Let's have.
Oh, you
Give
want me
us
to
a
go through?
concise-
Okay.
Yeah. You do it.
Give us the nice, concise, perfectly
You haven't
done.
been on in a while. People want to hear you.
Grab your note.
Put me on the spot. All right.
Yeah.
So 15 years ago, there was an episode of TOS called Space Seed, where the Enterprise encountered some genetically modified superhumans from the late 20th century. That episode ends with them being deposited on SETI Alpha 5, a planet for them to have as their own and tame that planet. Fast forward 15 years later, Spock is captain of the Enterprise. He has a crew of cadets. Well, it's a little muddy whether he has a crew of cadets or not. We're going to
It's
talk
a
about
training
that later.
ship now.
Yeah. Well, there's some inconsistencies there, so
Yes, there are.
we'll get to that. Kirk is now an admiral. He's inspecting the Enterprise when there's a distress call, and like every Star Trek movie, they're the only ship in range. So
That's
They
all.
go
Only ship in the quadrant, he said.
in the quad. Well, the word
The
quadrant.
whole quadrant.
The word quadrant
Yeah.
was used fast and loose in the TOS era, in the TOS movies, and the early TNG.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, so the USS Reliant, where Chekhov serves, is looking for a lifeless planet. So some scientists can test the Genesis device. The Genesis device is the device that will create life from lifelessness. So a barren planet will be transformed through the Genesis device into an M-class planet. So they're looking for a planet devoid of life.
It also lets you play Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's leading the 16-bit revolution.
Right. Sega does what Nintendo don't. Right. Oh no, Dan froze. No. Oh no. Okay.
All right. Do you want to continue off where he left off? Continue
Sure.
on?
Oh no, he's back.
Hear me?
Yes.
I'm back. I'm back, baby.
He's
We
back.
got you at the Genesis device.
Okay, so Genesis device, yeah. So they're checking out this planet to make sure it's lifeless. They discover life on the planet, and that life is Khan and his crew. The planet that they were left on became next to inhospitable not long after they were left there. Kirk never went back to check on them, so they've been living a miserable existence for a decade. They're pretty pissed off. They captured Chekhov and his captain. They take over the Reliant, and now they are on a mission to seek vengeance against Admiral Kirk.
Right. Because he tasks me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And hilarity ensues.
That's right. And hilarity ensues.
There it is.
Do you want to recap?
Yeah.
Am I recapping the whole movie, or what? Am I doing here?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I could take over from here if you want to.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Sure,
So I was a little confused about this part. About the timeline. So maybe you guys can help me out. Khan went to the regular space station first and then went after Captain Kirk? Or did he go after Captain Kirk, disable Captain Kirk, then go to regular space station and then go hide around the planet, regular one? I was confused about that. When did he kill all the people from the regular space station? Before he saw Kirk or after he saw Kirk?
So he saw Kirk at first and thought he had like disabled the ship or killed him, something like that. And right. Okay. No. So they had Chekhov and the other captain, and he was going to kill Kirk because
Right.
Khan was like, 1960s villain and like not waiting for him to actually die. He's like, all
Right.
right, I've left you my horrible plan, and now you're dead.
Yep.
And then he took off, right? Confident that the other captain and Chekhov would kill Kirk, but through the power of friendship, the other captain, turned the phaser on himself because he couldn't kill Kirk, and then
So Khan
Chekhov
Khan got beamed aboard the Reliant.
correct.
Okay, he used the earworms to tell them, hey, tell them to beam us aboard the Reliant. We're all going to be beamed aboard the Reliant.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then he takes over the Reliant. What does he do after that? Does he go to the regular space station, or does he go confront Kirk first?
He confronts Kirk first.
He confronts Kirk first, disables the ship, and then
Right.
goes to the regular space station?
Yes.
Okay.
But he leaves Chekhov and the other captain there
At
they're
the
going
regular
to kill
space
Kirk.
station. And he does it on purpose because he wants to kill Kirk. Okay,
Yeah.
so after that, they go into the regular moon, in the underneath the regular moon. That's where they've done phase 2 of the Genesis device.
Right.
There's a cute exchange where Kirk is talking to Spock over the intercom, and they're coded. It's a coded message. So he says it's going to take 2 days to do this and 6 days to do this. When in reality, when Spock is saying days, he really means hours. But Khan thinks he means days. So Khan thinks he's got enough time to take a trip around, whatever. But it turns out the Enterprise is ready. They go into the Mutara Nebula. They have a submarine space battle. Kirk is laughing at Khan's superior intellect. Ends up defeating Khan. Khan, in a last-ditch effort to destroy Kirk, starts to detonate the Genesis device. The Enterprise cannot escape in time because it's got a damaged warp core. And that's when Spock famously goes down to engineering, knocks out McCoy, does a mind meld with him, and then goes into the warp core chamber. And saves the day. He ends up fixing the ship just in the nick of time, but he is highly irradiated, and we have the Kirk Spock death scene. Pull up. What did Desiree say again? Pull that up.
Yes.
Desiree says, well, he did say they made you highly suggestive, so I guess if your mind is powerful enough, you could fight the suggestion. I don't know if anybody ever said that Chekhov was had a strong mind, but yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. Friendship won. After all these years of serving,
yeah, it was the power of friendship.
It was the power of friendship. So there's a touching scene at the the end of the movie. Famously, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. There's a scene at the end where Spock, Kirk comes to the rescue. He tries to get Spock, McCoy, and Scotty and an unnamed crewman stop Kirk from going into the chamber. And there's a touching scene where Spock and Kirk are separated by glass, and they have an exchange. The needs of the many, and live long and prosper, and he dies. And they have, I don't care how old you are, I don't care how tough you are, if you don't shed a tear at that funeral scene, you ain't got a heart. Because I've seen that movie literally. I'd say this was probably in the neighborhood of the 3,000th time that I've seen that movie.
Oh wow!
And I had a tear running down my cheek when Scotty was playing bagpipes.
Yeah.
So, and that's the end of the movie.
I was cheering and I was going, "Kill him again, Colin! Kill him again!"
Well,
kill him harder.
Yeah.
I now that we've done the synopsis, I want to go circle back to the beginning of the movie because I've got a nit that I did not look up on IMDb. This is just something I looked at.
Okay.
And it starts with a problem with Kirk not going back to check on him. But okay, so City Alpha is a system. City Alpha is the sun. City Alpha 5 is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th planet of that system. So the way we number planets is the closest is number 1, furthest away is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, furthest away, right? So Kirk in the original series drops him off at City Alpha 5, right? Okay.
Yep.
So City Alpha. So number 1, he didn't go back and check on him. Starfleet didn't send a single ship in 15, 20 years to go check on them? That's
Yeah.
irresponsible of Kirk.
So here's the thing. Starfleet, while it is many things, is still the government.
Right.
Okay? And if you are going to assume, well, it's the government's. They know what they're doing. They got their shit together. Come on. I don't care what century it is. The government fucks up.
That's solely on Starfleet. That's on Kirk.
See,
Anyways,
I was gonna say, Starfleet has a long, proud tradition of really bad dads, just like Worf.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And they've got a long, proud tradition of doing something major with a planet and a people and never going back to see them again. So they deposit them on City Alpha 5, right? Khan says that City Alpha 6 exploded. Okay. And
it went bang.
Altered City Alpha 5, whatever. Okay, so City Alpha 6, I've actually got like a little thing with the planets. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So City Alpha 6 explodes, right? Okay. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. City Alpha 5 is still the 5th planet from the sun. So if City Alpha 6 explodes, what is now the 6th planet from the sun? City Alpha 7. So the Reliant wants to go specifically to City Alpha 6, correct? They wouldn't accidentally go to City Alpha 5. They wouldn't go to the 5th planet from the sun. They'd go to the 6th planet from the sun, which is actually 20 years ago the 7th planet from the sun. They never should have seen Khan in the first place.
There you go.
Am I stupid? I'm not wrong.
No.
I got that right, didn't I?
But you're gonna ruin the movie if you overthink it.
Fine.
That's
You want to
how it
hear my
works.
other? You want to hear my other nit? It has to do with the beginning of the movie, and I can tie in Next Generation with this too.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the movie, and it sort of establishes Kirk's I don't know, fear of incompetent or fear of inexperienced pilots, but Spock is like, Savick, have you ever piloted a ship out of space, Doc? And she's like, nope, never done that before. And he's like, take the Khan. So she goes and sits in the captain's chair and says, ahead, 1/4 impulse power till you clear the space dock. I'm like, she didn't pilot the ship out of nowhere.
That's what I thought too.
She didn't pilot crap. And it got me to thinking about the very first episode of The Next Generation when Riker meets Picard for the first time. And Picard's like, Commander Riker will perform a manual docking. And so he goes onto the battle bridge and sits in the captain's chair. He doesn't do any piloting. He just tells the helm.
I think the term pilot is different in the Navy than it is from the Air Force. That's why if you call, all right, you remember the scene in Top Gun where he's in the bar and she says, you're a pilot, and he says, I'm a naval aviator. Because people who fly aircraft in the Navy are called aviators. People who control the movements of ships in the sea are pilots.
Okay.
So he's not necessarily steering the ship, but he is controlling its movements. So he is the pilot.
Okay, let me ask you this. Were you impressed by Savik's skill in giving orders to the actual person steering the ship? I wasn't. Helm, take us out. Oh, wow, you piloted the ship for the first time. And
I lost
Riker,
I lost my shit and threw popcorn like Minecraft. Like those videos.
Now with Riker, he was giving like actual coordinates and degrees and stuff. He's like, -3 degrees and this and that and the other thing. But like that, what would have impressed me is if he had taken the con. But also they say, so-and-so, you've got the con, and they sit in the captain's chair. But if you take the con, you sit in the pilot seat. I don't know Navy and Air Force.
They mess things up. So along the same lines, I said there's some question as to what that ship is crewed by. What is Savik's rank in this movie?
She looks like a lieutenant.
Okay, they call her lieutenant, but they also refer to them being cadets. So are they
Right.
cadets, or are they commissioned?
Is she like a
You know,
lieutenant junior
officers.
grade?
I think
But
that
even then, that's not a cadet.
Right.
I think that she is in the command program. And so she's being trained in the command program,
Okay.
and the cadets are being trained to do regular jobs. So I think
But
they've
that doesn't
taken.
make her a cadet.
No, it doesn't make her a cadet. So I think it's like, you're absolutely right. I think they just took lower ranking command people in the command section
Uh-huh.
and put them in sort of in charge of cadets, and then had a senior officer oversee the whole thing.
I got the vibe she was Spock's girlfriend.
Except that in later lore, we're
Mhm.
told definitively that the Kobayashi Maru is done at the academy,
Right.
and that it's academy cadets that goes.
Yeah.
All academy cadets go through that test.
Not
So-
all academy cadets, because Spock said he didn't go through it. But maybe that's because they established in Star Trek, 09 Star Trek, that he's the one that came up with the Kobayashi Maru. So
Yeah.
who knows? And another thing I was thinking about, if they had a Kobayashi Maru in, say, Lower Decks time frame or Picard time frame, what would that look like? Because it wouldn't
like
be,
Oh, yeah.
wouldn't be
cubes.
Klingons. Borg cubes and
Be 9 Borg
Romulan
cubes.
Alciar, Jeb Hadar, all the
Yeah.
Hadar.
Actually, you know what it would be? It would
Huh.
be the scene in the intro to Lower Decks.
Oh, the
With
just
the-
giant space fight?
The crystalline
Yeah.
entity, the doomsday
Yeah.
machine, like
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine that if they had a Kobayashi Maru, say, in TNG era, like when Wesley went to the academy, I would imagine it would be Romulan warbirds.
Oh, probably. Yeah. Yeah. Or
Because-
the Nausicaans.
Or the Nausicaans.
Yeah.
Because at that time frame, it probably wouldn't be woke enough to fight Klingons.
That's right.
Yeah.
Human play Domjot?
Yeah. You would play
Yeah.
Domjot.
Yes. That's how they start every one of their communications.
Right.
Yeah.
Domjot human.
I want to get that on it.
Oh no, there he goes. The
Domjot human.
Nausicaans got him.
The Nausicaans got him. He got
Oh, no.
stabbed through the back, right through the heart.
Oh no.
I'm back.
Okay. Okay.
Um.
Yes, we hear you. We hear you.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. So I'm gonna get a
Yep.
T-shirt
Hello.
that says "Human play."
So
Domjot."
yeah,
so-
Savick,
People recognize it.
human play Domjot. I like it. I like it.
Everyone would know what that means too. It's perfect. So
Um,
I do have some trivia from IMDb that I thought
Yeah.
was fun. One of them was the fact that they started working on the script and they decided to use Khan. They never went to Ricardo Montalban to see if he was even interested in it until way later in the process.
It was
Like,
pretty
they
last
already
minute.
had the script, and then they're like, "Hey, do you want to come back?"
I think it was Harv Bennett that was like, has anybody talked to Montalban about this? Because I think he's doing Fantasy Island.
Yeah, yeah. They had to
I-
move things
I'm-
around to get him in there.
I'm
Yes.
a little disappointed that they didn't find a role for the little midget guy who was his
Yes.
partner on Fantasy
The
Island.
plane.
Yeah, I read. I was watching the DVD commentary last night, or the special features. They said something like they played a joke on Ricardo Montalban, where they had like I think it was maybe one of those director's chairs or whatever, and they had like a little figurine of that character like glued to the
Oh,
chair.
that's funny. Yeah.
So
Oh, that's funny. The other thing I read
rumor
too
has
is
it that the script was leaked before they went to production, and it was
Oh,
known
wow.
that Spock was going to die. And
Oh, no.
So they changed the script. It's actually ingenious if this is true. They
Yeah.
added that training scene at the beginning,
uh-huh.
and Spock dies.
Right.
Oh,
People go into the movie and you go, "I heard Spock dies," and then in the first 5 minutes they watch Spock die, and they go, "Oh, all right, well,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
that's where that came from."
that would
Yeah.
be very smart.
An hour and a half later, he dies for real.
See,
like
and
it.
I thought, oh wow, that's really good foreshadowing. Because the first thing Kirk tells him is like, "Aren't you supposed to be dead?"
That's the joke. Aren't you
Right.
supposed to be dead? It's out in the
Yeah.
news that you're dying in this movie. Aren't you supposed to be dead?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a clever way to deal with the script leak.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the other bit of trivia that I thought was kind of fun was apparently Ricardo Montalban was so stuck from Fantasy Island on playing Mr. Rourke that he needed to go to Paramount and watch the Space Seed episode multiple times to remember how to get back into the con mode.
Yeah.
So,
He said on the commentary, he said he had him send him a tape, which back in 1981, it's not like you send me a screener. You can't. It's not that easy. So yeah, they had him send.
And that
him a
probably
tape.
would have been beta back then.
Right.
Betamax.
Betamax.
He said he had to watch it about 5 times.
Yeah.
So another fun fact about him: there was a rumor for years that he wore a prosthetic chest.
Yes.
For those scenes, that open shirt, and
Yeah.
no, that dude's just jacked in 1982.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Good on him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people say this is their favorite of the TOS films. I don't know about mine, but
I my 3 favorite are this one, The Voyage Home, and Undiscovered Country.
Yeah.
Desiree says they chose Montalban to bring in the ladies. Oil that chest.
yes.
Yeah.
You gotta handle your girl.
I guess I'm gonna have to shave my chest, and I can
next week you come in.
I'm already jacked. I'm already jacked,
Of course.
Since you guys can only see me from about the the navel up, I'm just gonna tell you, all of you, that I'm just jacked and ripped.
That's true. Yes.
But yeah, next time I'll come in with like a shaven chest right here, and just some kind of T-shirt that I can pull down with like maybe a Starfleet emblem.
Back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna lose a lot of listeners.
That's right. Welcome to Jimcast.
Right. Yeah. Scott came in and just take the show.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
What else? With the
I've got a couple of
go for it.
Most of the actors playing Khan's henchmen were Chippendale dancers at the time.
Oh,
which that tracks. They're all beautiful and they're all cut and they're all whatever. And the 1982, the scene where Dr. Marcus is showing off the Genesis device, which she's on TV. They're watching a program about the Genesis device.
Mm-hmm.
That sequence where it shows the Genesis device doing its thing and recreating a planet, that was CG. That was entirely CGI, and it was the first time that CGI had been used in a major motion picture like that.
I do remember reading that. Yeah.
So that was a huge thing. It's a blink and you miss it sequence, but that little sequence of the demonstration of the Genesis device was computer generated, and it was a big deal. You got to think this movie was made. Principal photography was done in January of 1982.
Yeah.
And so they made it very quickly, and this is back in the early 80s.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was very impressive for what it was. I thought the animation on that was really, really good. It wasn't pixely. It wasn't like grid liney. It was fantastic. And another thing about the budget. There's a famous quote from I think it was Harve Bennett, or one of the producers talking to Harve Bennett. Harve Bennett was one of the producers. Where he's talking to the showrunners or the people at NBC or Paramount or whatever, and talking about the movie, and this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do, and they stop him and they say, "Can you make the film for under $45 million?" And they're like, "Yes, we think we can." And so they actually came in under budget. It was less than the budget of the motion picture, so they didn't have as much to work with. It was much more action packed. So they did a good job. Nick Meyer was the director. He would go on to
The
direct
writer,
a
I
couple
thought.
more. Nick Meyer.
Did he direct it too? I
What?
thought he was the writer.
Let me look. Let me look.
Let's see. Oh yeah, no,
Who
you're right.
directed
Directed by
Star
Nicholas
Trek 2?
Meyer. Okay. Oh, it
Okay,
was
yeah.
screenplay by Jack Sowers or Sowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had never really heard of him,
Mhm.
but it was produced by directed by Nick
Yeah.
Meyer, produced by Harv Bennett.
Yeah.
Now Nick Meyer, I don't remember what other Trek movies he directed, but he directed the Undiscovered Country, which is
Okay.
if you put a gun to my head, I think Undiscovered Country is my favorite.
Yeah, mine
original
too.
series movie.
Honestly. Yeah.
Also, they brought in James Horner for the
Mhm.
score. And back then, James Horner wasn't quite as known.
Horner,
As
I
he
barely
is.
know her.
Yeah, right. And I thought that they brought in that soundtrack became kind of known as the original series movie soundtrack.
Yeah.
That I thought was really
There he
good.
is.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay.
We're gonna dock your pay. Figure out how many minutes he was gone, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
divide it. So yeah, we were just talking about the budget and
Oh,
the
you know, one thing we didn't bring up, we were introduced to Kirk's son, David.
Yes, we were introduced
Yeah.
to Kirk's son. Kirk, William Shatner wasn't quite sure about the genesis of that relationship.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Right.
With Carol, but don't shake your head at me. So he wasn't quite sure if they had been married or not or whatever. But
Right.
we're introduced to Kirk's son, and in a deleted scene, we're
Mhm.
introduced to Scotty's nephew.
Oh, okay.
So the cadet who died
Mhm.
was established in a deleted scene and in the novelization as Scotty's nephew. That's why he's so distraught about his death, and that's why
Oh, okay.
Bones said, "I'm sorry, Scotty,"
Yeah.
because it was his nephew. He's
Okay.
he stayed at his post when the trainees ran.
So
Yeah.
this is, again, this goes back to like the inconsistencies
Mhm.
in the show. He was not a cadet. He was introduced as a midshipman, which is an enlisted rank in the Navy.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it more powerful, is that here was a kid, just to put him in, to put it in contemporary example. This is a kid who enlisted in the Navy right out of high school. Okay, so he's not 24 years old because he's an academy graduate. This is a 17 or 18-year-old.
Oh no.
Kid. And when the
Yeah.
cadets, the officer, did that come through, or did I cut
No.
out?
Keep going. Keep going.
No, I was saying this is a 17 or 18-year-old kid who enlisted out of high school, and he's working in the engine room. And when shit hit the fan, and the officer trainees, the cadets, are freaking out, this kid stayed at his post because that's what his duty said he's supposed to do. I think
Right.
if you once you realize that, the scene is more powerful.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. 100% right. I'm gonna, in my head canon, I'm gonna say that the Enterprise was a training ship, and that it had a mix of cadets and enlisted. So you probably had cadets. Hey, come on board the ship. You'll see how starships operate. Hey, junior officers and junior enlisted, you come on board the ship too. It's just a big training ship. We're not going to go out and save the universe. We're going to, go once around Mars and come back. But
yeah. So every military installation has commissioned and non-commissioned personnel. So
Right.
you go to West Point, which is the U.S. United States Army Military Academy.
Mhm.
There are
enlisted people walking all over the place because, the MPs on the base are enlisted. And, the people who run the day-to-day operations of that base are a mixture of enlisted and commissioned officers. So,
Right.
every Starfleet ship has enlisted people on it. For some reason, we never see them, except in very rare circumstances. But, somebody, somebody does the work.
It's all Chief O'Brien.
Yes.
He's famously the Jem'Hadar called him a non-com, so non-commissioned officer. Even though in my head canon he's a chief petty officer.
Crewman. Whenever they say crewman, I kind of assume they're talking about an enlisted.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
I got a note here. Uniforms. They had a huge transition in this movie, and they went to the famous red tunic uniforms. These uniforms are my favorite. I think they give Star Trek, for better or for worse, they give Star Trek a more military feel. So this film establishes Starfleet as maybe not a military organization, although that's what Carol Marcus calls it, but maybe rooted in military tradition. So which makes sense. Even NASA, which is a non-military entity, has some military traditions surrounding it. But these tunics, I love these uniforms. I love the ranks. I love the jacket. I love the jacket, how it can come off, the clips, the clasps.
They also walk around in those like gray pajamas, which you can totally see as the inspiration for the next gen uniforms.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I was looking at the engineering uniforms too. In the military, if you're a mechanic, you're not wearing a regular duty uniform. You're wearing these coveralls. You're wearing mission specific gear. So I like the white. I like the white uniforms that have the little hole in the middle for the little breathing tube and all that. It all makes sense. I thought that was great design.
Yeah. So what I love about the TOS movies is just looking at the background of the sets, looking at them walking through the hallways. That's the TNG set that they're.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though TNG wouldn't come out for another 5 years.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was Star Trek Phase 2 stuff.
Yeah.
Star Trek
absolutely.
Phase 2. And they just because they had built some of those sets and they had designed some of those sets. But yeah, the corridors are they're a carbon copy of Next Generation.
Yeah.
And Next Generation took a lot from Star Trek Phase 2. So if you don't know, Star Trek Phase 2 was the failed relaunch of Star Trek. They were going to make another series called Star Trek Phase 2.
Before TNG.
Before TNG.
So much as it was folded into and became Star Trek the Motion Picture.
Right. They decided we're not going to do a TV series because this Laser Sword movie did so well, Star Wars. We're going to make a...
It was Laser Sword Episode 4 did really well.
Right. Laser Sword Episode 4. What else? There's a crap ton of
we're just scratching
trivia
the surface
on this. We could spend another hour and a half talking about.
Oh, for sure.
So Saavik was originally supposed to be half Vulcan, half Romulan.
Correct.
In my headcanon, she is. And that accounts for the fact that she's crying at Spock's funeral, which is a very un-Vulcan-like thing to do.
Right.
She also expressed frustration in the simulator. She says, "Damn."
Yeah.
That's not very Vulcan-like.
Crazy outrage. How dare she?
Yeah. Here's a neat tidbit too. Just after Admiral Kirk steps aboard, Scotty says, I had a wee bout, sir, but Dr. McCoy pulled me through. This is a reference to James Doohan had a heart attack just before filming took place.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Now, when Kirk says bout of what, McCoy says shore leave.
Shore leave.
Right. Yeah.
That means he was shit-faced the night before.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Uh-huh. So, yeah, this overall film, great. The ending. Let's talk about the ending a little bit.
Yeah.
Spock dies, and they were going to go film this, and they were, having a character die, even in Star Trek back then, that could be. It seems kind of permanent. So I think I can't remember if it was Leonard Nimoy or Harv Bennett or Nick Meyer that said, "What if Spock, just before he goes into the chamber, does a little, maybe a little mind meld with McCoy, just leaving a little bit of a thread." And they're like, "Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea." So that's remember the Vulcan thing, the mind meld he does with McCoy was a last minute addition. And Leonard Nimoy said that he didn't realize that there was a shot of the coffin on the planet's surface until he saw the premiere.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So
they had plans for him.
I'm not a big fan of I'm gonna put my Katra in McCoy's head and leave it there storyline. I think it was a last minute thing that they decided to do. I don't think it makes any sense. I think it makes Vulcans immortal in a way.
Well, the only way that you could have made Spock immortal or done that is because of the Genesis device. Two unlikely things had to happen. I know I'm going to die, and my molecules are going to get redone.
Yeah. Well, I think it's unnecessary. I thought it was completely unnecessary. They could have told the same. They could have not tell the same story. Well, Search for Spock is not really a great film, so they had the same outcome that we get at the end of Search for Spock by his pod lands on the newly formed Genesis planet, and something in the Genesis effect revives his body.
What's your problem?
You get the same thing. You get
Spoilers. Spock, that's next week.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
Show us on the doll where Spock.
Sorry that I spoiled.
Yeah. Well, like 40-year-old film. Yeah, I know.
Why does Dan hate Spock so much? He doesn't want him to come back.
That's right.
He's rooting for Khan the entire time. That's another thing I want to say. Along with Thanos, I sort of understand Khan's point.
Yeah.
Like, asshole, you left us here to. Okay, yeah, I get that Khan was a bad dude, and he tried to, steal Kirk's ship and murder him. I get that. Yeah. Okay. So I'm marooned on a planet, and now it's a desert planet, and the only thing that's left alive are brain-sucking earwigs. And that killed 20 of my people, including my wife.
Yeah.
I'm pissed off too at Kirk. You didn't come back and check on us?
So he referred to those things as the only surviving indigenous life form on this planet. Do you know what that means?
They were there all the time?
No, it means they're eating those things.
Yeah. They're delicious.
They are delicious.
Yeah.
Especially with yamak sauce.
Because here's the thing. Superior genetics or not, you can't have a chest like that unless you're ingesting protein.
That's right. A lot of protein in those bugs.
Maybe they had a lot of protein powder and creatine.
Yeah, either that or like beans. There's a lot of beans on Study Alpha 5.
There you go.
Protein rich. Which means the inside of the body smells terrible.
Oh God.
Oh no.
Non-stop.
I don't want to think of that.
Superhuman farts.
Oh
Genetically enhanced flatulence.
Oh.
Genetically enhanced flatulence. Well, that's a good place to leave it.
Yep.
Oh no.
I think we're ready for listener feedback.
Yeah, let's get to listener feedback. Let me just put that on.
Listener feedback.
All right.
I think
I've got a voicemail.
All right, go ahead and play your voicemail.
All right, let's play the voicemail. So here we go.
guys. Wrath of Khan, 4 out of 5. Probably the second best movie of the series. Kind of tie it with Undiscovered Country, but having just watched Into Darkness, realizing that Spock said Khan from Wrath of Khan thinks in 2 dimensions, thinking that if he actually had access to the technology that Kelvin universe Khan had, what destruction he could have brought to the primetime universe. Food for thought. Peace.
Okay. So yeah.
Okay, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an email from Kevin.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Kevin says, hi to all the Star Trek or Trekcast gang. I just thought I'd write in about the new episode of Black Mirror. If you haven't seen the new USS Callister episode, it's totally worth it. Such deep nuances and something to talk about with the level of human conditions.
Oh.
This episode further iterates that Kurtzman has no clue what he is doing to Star Trek at all. There isn't a single bit of intelligence written into Section 31, and this Black Mirror episode is so rich with character. Till we get rid of Kurtzman, Trek can never return. Alex doesn't have a passion or care about sci-fi. It's not sci-fi that he's even making. It's B-level crap, and he's getting paid big money to do it. Signed, Kevin.
Tell us how you really feel, Kevin.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say I disagree. I haven't seen Black Mirror yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't realize that Black Mirror was out already.
Yeah, I didn't know it was out. I'll probably tonight then.
Yeah.
So
now I know what I'm watching tonight. So.
Yeah.
Probably watch both those episodes back to back because I don't remember the first one.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think you're expressing the same thing that a lot of Trek fans are expressing, that we're not loving Kurtzman that much.
Yeah, a lot of frustrated people about that.
So we want who do we want? We want Frakes, and who's the other guy that we really like?
Oh, Metalis,
yeah, Terry Metalis and Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah,
Metalis brings the fresh blood ish kind of stuff, the kind of Trek fan stuff, and Frakes brings that old school, old Trek, knowledge and feel. So.
And the trombone.
And the trombone.
That's right.
Absolutely. That's what Trek fans want. Yeah.
For sure.
So
I did post. Yeah. We got Chaz was waiting, but real quick, I did post in some of the groups. I wanted to share this. The Khan is after you. Khan wants revenge because, and then use predictive text. So we had some pretty funny ones. We had Khan wants revenge for the fact that he's the one that got killed in a fight in a car crash. Another one is Khan wants revenge because the Enterprise NX-01 to the phone with the happy face and orange juice in the movies with the happy hour. You know you'll like it. What?
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go. I just thought that was fun. We had a bunch of other weird ones, but let me bring in Chazbiz. He's here. There he is.
Hello.
What's going on, man?
What's up, Chazbiz?
Well, you picked a good episode, so movie.
Yes.
Yeah, Dan picked a good one to show up on.
Yes.
Yeah.
He woke up.
Dan's gonna pick the next movie we watch too.
That's right.
I would say Dan's the Carol Marcus of this episode when she's cutting out talking to Kirk. Every time Dan tries to say something.
Scott's over there. Who's taking Genesis?
Carol,
who's?
Yeah.
Dan, what are you talking about? Dan, are you there? What's going on? Oh boy.
What'd you think of the movie, Chazbiz?
Well, it's A+. So
yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
is this your favorite of the TOS films?
Yeah. It's top tier. Well, it's all the evens.
Yeah,
all the even numbers are the best.
Yeah,
ones.
yeah, up to a point.
Undiscovered Country is probably my favorite because I watched it the most as a child. I would say this
Same
one,
here.
Con, and then Voyage Home.
Yep, same here.
Are top three.
Yeah, they're all
to think
pretty
that
good.
This is a Star Trek movie that only had 2 aliens in it.
Who? The Spock and
Savick.
yeah, that's true.
Just think that
What
there's
I missed that
hardly
it's
any
a-
aliens except
Oh,
the
they have what?
earwig.
What was that,
Yeah.
Dan?
I missed what he said. This is a Star Trek movie that only had what?
2 aliens.
2
in it.
aliens.
2 aliens.
Everybody was human, even Khan and his crew.
Well, the earwig, that's an alien life form.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
2 humanoid aliens.
But
Yeah.
his the aliens' dialogue was really bad in that movie, though.
Yes.
It was-
Yeah.
Especially when the one captain shoots himself, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
How was my?
Yeah,
how was
you
my,
hear him like screaming.
Was my
Yeah.
accent good?
Good. You nailed the part.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder how many listeners we just had drop off because of that.
Oh, we had quite a few.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You just seem like melting away. Yeah, like, that's pretty creepy.
Yeah. That they also talked about those special effects. Like it was that was
ILM
bad
that
special
did it,
effect.
or
Well, with the props, that was the prop thing.
props? Okay.
With
Yeah.
the like
Oh,
earwigs,
I-
you could even see the string as they were going into their ears as they were sliding. Once they put the helmets
Yeah.
back on, you can see the string that was pulling the little things along
How
their
could
cheek.
Mhm.
So I mean, but they had to cut this. They had to have a low budget. They had
Well,
to have a lower
yeah.
budget than if they're going to make any money. And if they hadn't have cut the budget like this, if they'd blown the budget, we wouldn't have seen Star Trek 3.
I love
Right.
that the station, that Carol Marcus is on, that all the coloring look like my old Fisher Price cassette player, the tan and
Right.
taupe colors. All the plasticky stuff look like tan and taupe. It was just this
Mhm.
ugly 80s colors. Like the
I mean,
old
that was the
computer.
style at the time, though.
Yeah,
Right. And apparently they
That's
still
the-
play bridge in the 23rd century.
I guess
That's right.
so.
They do.
Yes, and have spectacles. So
And have
Kirk
spectacles.
could have got LASIK, but he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna go old fashioned way. I'm just gonna wear these old glasses."
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Recnex 5 is the only other thing, but he's allergic to Recnex, Rex, whatever that drug. I guess that's a drug. I'm assuming that's a drug that fixes your eyesight.
Yes.
and what do you think of the handles on the spacesuits?
Well, they were necessary, otherwise Khan couldn't have.
Yeah,
I mean, I've heard people say they had a problem with that, with the handles on the spacesuits, and to that, on some, I've seen them on police vests and also on
Mhm.
military bulletproof vests or bullet resistant
I can
vests.
see firemen.
They
having
have
it.
handles. They have
Something
a strap that are specifically designed to grab onto, so you can pull your buddy who's all shot up out of
Right.
harm's way. They're reinforced straps, usually on the back, that you can grab onto and pull a buddy out of a situation. So
Yeah.
maybe that's that kind of thing. It's
Yes.
a handle. Maybe it's specifically designed
Yeah.
for a gloved hand to pick up and move around.
It's got
Mm.
handlebars.
I think it's a space. So I think it's probably designed to clip a tether to, like a carabiner. You clip a
Okay.
tether to
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So if you're
Yeah, that'd be
As-
cool.
in a zero-G environment, you clip that tether so you don't float off into space. So,
And
I'm
one
okay
thing
with it.
that I watched the Fathom events probably about 5 years ago in the theater, and they
Oh,
interviewed
yeah.
Kirk, and Kirk was Kirk, I mean William Shatner, of course.
William Shatner.
But
Yeah.
William Shatner was talking about Ricardo Montalban. He couldn't really walk at the time.
Mm.
He had a hard time. He had a limp because he was injured in a movie
Mm.
years ago, and he could barely move. But he worked out a lot, like his arms and everything. That's why his chest was so big. If
Right.
you notice in the movie, he's sitting most of the time,
A lot of the time, yeah.
and he doesn't walk much. And that's
And
why
when he does, he walks slow
Yeah, he walks slow,
Mhm.
as he walked with a limp back then.
or he
So,
crawls.
Yeah,
So
and he crawls and he practices his Shakespeare.
Yeah.
No. You know what? I'm going to correct you on that one, and the reason I'm going to correct you is because I thought
Okay.
the same thing up until
It was
yesterday.
not,
It's not I thought for the years I thought that was Shakespeare. Okay, but he's talking about revenge. This is a speech about revenge. What
Yeah.
other major thing is about revenge? And they touch on it in Star Trek First Contact. That's from Moby Dick.
Moby Dick.
Is it
Mhm.
Moby Dick? Oh, okay.
And I thought it was Shakespeare up until 12 hours ago.
Okay. So Moby Dick.
And then
I
you
thought it was
Googled
a
it?
quote from. Yeah, and then
Then
I
you
googled
Googled
it. Then I googled it. I'm like, what is this quote
Use
about?
Chat GPT
Have
on
no
it.
fear, I spit my last breath at thee, and I'm looking it up. I'm like, oh, that's from.
So
Moby
is it
Dick.
Ahab talking about the stupid whale? I guess
It's a
Okay.
quote from Ahab talking about the whale, talking to the whale.
makes sense, man.
From hell's fire, I whatever at thee, I spit my last breath at thee. You know,
Mhm.
Ahab spent his entire life looking for the whale that crippled him, and in the end, as Picard says, it ended up destroying him.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
So
I bet they had some banger Chip and Dale shows there on that planet.
That's a weird thing to bring up.
It's like here they're doing like.
hey, we were all
very
thinking it. He just did
alternate
it.
lines. I was like, "This is my revenge." I'm gonna say to Kirk when I ever see him, and then the other guys are all dressed as Chip and Dale dancers and just working out and doing squat.
I like the idea of Khan being like, "All right, Kirk, I'm gonna kill you. Boys, dance."
Dance. They go up to Carol Marcus.
And then our wives are like, they look up from their phones. Ooh.
You see
Oh
George
my.
Takei's give
What was
a
that, Dan?
smile.
No, I was saying I have a fun fact, and
Oh no.
Dan, you're cutting out.
Carol Marcus.
Oh no.
Yeah, your Carol Marcus is showing.
Oh no.
Oh, can you get a
that's so
screenshot of that
frustrating.
too? He looks like a
He's just stuck
groundhog.
in that frame.
Yeah.
hello, hello.
You're
Hey,
back.
there you are.
Hello?
There you are.
Hi.
Yeah.
All right, real quick before you
Yeah.
lose me again. Ricardo Montalban does not share the screen with William Shatner throughout this whole movie. They're not
Yeah,
in
That's
scene
true. He's
exactly
together.
talking to a wall.
Yes, all the communication goes over, either the communicator or the screen on the bridge of the Enterprise.
Mhm.
In fact, Ricardo Montalban only shares a scene with one Enterprise crew member, and that's Chekhov.
Yeah.
And that's the
Who knows?
time he shared a scene with him because Chekhov was not in Space Seed.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, my headcanon for that is, there's a lot of crew members in Space Seed that we probably didn't see.
Yep.
So it's never specifically said in the original series that, oh, this person just transferred on board. Maybe he was a lower decker. I'm guessing he was a lower decker, and then he got promoted to con officer.
Mhm.
So
That's possible.
he could have seen him in the hallway, heard somebody mention his name. That's where my headcanon's at, because there's nothing to refute that. Maybe Chekhov. I think Chekhov was on the Enterprise all along.
They touch on this in Into Darkness. That's why they put him down in engineering.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
That makes sense.
Yep.
That makes. It's funny.
Oh yeah. Kevin says that makes a cool connection to First Contact that I didn't know before. Cool quote from Moby Dick. Yeah. Makes it.
Yeah.
It's funny
First
because
Contact.
this first time I ever watched this with my dad, and he kept on calling it Star Wars. So,
Oh no.
and he's like, "So did the director? Did he make Star Wars?" No, it was Star Trek, Dad. Oh, so who made Star Wars?
This other little known guy. Yeah.
George
Yeah.
Lucas,
It's
I
like
believe
Gene-
is his name.
It's like
Yeah.
George Lucas.
He was a one and done director.
This is
Yeah.
Gene Roddenberry. Who's Gene Roddenberry? Is he dead? Is he alive? I'm like, I believe
Hey
he's
guys,
dead.
my
He's dead now.
Okay. You gotta go, Dan?
Yeah, my phone's heating up again. I got to jet.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
But,
Well, yeah.
thanks for coming. Live long and prosper. I'll see you.
All right,
All
man.
right.
Good seeing
See
you.
you later. Yeah, we should probably
Bye.
wrap this up because I gotta take my son to Comic-Con.
Yeah,
we're gonna
we
go
should
there,
wrap it
walk
up.
around
All
for a
right.
little bit. So, I will post some pictures and some things. Like I said, there's not a lot of Star Trek stuff going on at the Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Starfleet International does have a booth there, so I'll take a few pictures of that. And there's an interview that I did with one of the captains from that, Vern. I posted that on our Facebook group. It's an interview I did with him about 6 months ago. So
okay.
head on over to our Facebook group, check that out.
Yeah.
You can call us, leave us a voicemail. I'm glad that we're getting
let me bring
voicemails
that
now.
number back up. Yeah.
Yeah, the number for our voice, you can leave us a voicemail at 570-661-0001 and leave us a voicemail. Nobody will pick up. Just leave us a voicemail and just talk about anything Trek.
That's
We'll
right.
play it on the show, and you can hit us up on Facebook. You can see us on YouTube and X, TikTok, and Instagram. We're at over 15,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah, we're over 15,000 on Instagram.
That's amazing. If you want to
That's
send,
crazy.
if you want to do like Kevin did, Kevin sent me an email. I'll read it on the show. You can email us at trekcasttng@gmail.com, or if you want to send one to me directly, it's strongbeard1701@gmail.com.
Awesome.
So,
well, thanks everybody for watching and listening, and we'll catch you next week. We're gonna do Search for Spock.
That's right.
Yeah.
And go Broncos! They won the hockey national championship last night.
There you go. All right. Okay. Bye.
This is Captain Benjamin Sisko of Deep Space Nine and Space God to the Bajorans. I have a mission for you. This falls outside of Starfleet guidelines, so I can't order you, but I'm asking for volunteers. Volunteers who will subscribe to the Trekcast YouTube channel, leave 5-star reviews on your podcast app of choice, and share Trekcast across your social media accounts. If we can make our audience bigger, we might have a chance against the Dominion. Are you ready? Subscribe, like, and share. Are you with me?